Welcome to Canal-mania and the Manchester, Bolton and Bury Canal. We're in Greater Manchester in northwest England. The Manchester, Bolton and Bury ran from the River Irwell in Manchester north to Priestley and from there in two branches to Bolton and Bury. The line to Priestley and Bury follows the valley of the River Irwell. The line from Priestley to Bolton follows the River Crowle. It was 15 miles long with 17 locks. It was later connected to the Rochdale Canal by the Manchester and Salford Junction Canal, which we will also cover. We'll follow the canal from central Manchester, going northwest to Bolton and then to Bury. And here we are in central Manchester, on the Manchester and Salford Junction Canal, at its junction with the Rochdale Canal. This canal was built in a tunnel for 500 yards, and later Manchester Central Station, now an exhibition centre, was built over the top. This canal was built in 1839, finally connecting the Manchester, Bolton and Bury to the national network, over 40 years after the main line opened. Over the River Irwell, we see the southern terminus of the Manchester, Bolton and Bury, and to the left, locks down to the Irwell. This link was itself not built until 1808 due to opposition from the River Irwell navigation owners. Opposition to the canal also came from the owners of mills along the Orwell and Crowle. And here we are on the main line of the canal. Construction started after parliamentary approval in 1791, and it was opened in 1796 to Bury and 1797 to Bolton. The prime mover and chief engineer was Matthew Fletcher. We'll come across the Fletcher name again soon. The canal was built to carry coal from the many mines in the area and salt from Cheshire to the bleach and dye works serving the region's textile industry. At its peak, it was very busy. In the late 1800s, the canal was carrying over 600,000 tonnes of coal and 40,000 tonnes of other cargo per year. It also ran a passenger service for over 100 years, starting in 1796, with services between Bolton and Bury and both towns and Manchester. As we ease out from the modern conurbation, we move into old mining country. And here is an interesting feature. The Manchester, Bolton and Bury crosses the Irwell on the Clifton Aqueduct to continue on the east bank. On the west bank we see Fletcher's Canal. The two canals proceed in parallel on either side of the river until we reach Clifton. This was the location of the Wet Earth Colliery, owned by the Fletcher family. As its name suggests, it suffered from flooding and was eventually drained by James Brindley using water power. An example perhaps of poetic engineering. The channels dug for this were eventually enlarged to create Fletcher's Canal and link it to the Manchester, Bolton and Bury at the Clifton Aqueduct in around 1800. It lasted until 1935. And here we are at Ringley Wood, also the site of an old colliery, and importantly the place at which coal from the Outwells mine, further to the east, was brought by a tramway and loaded onto boats. This was a significant source of trade for the canal. As we go on, we come to the 6 Priestley locks in 2 staircases of 3, up to Priestley Junction, where the Bury section goes off to the east. We'll follow the Bolton line first. Originally, the canal was designed as a 7-foot wide narrow gauge canal, but it was changed to 14 foot in 1794 during construction to enable a proposed link to the Leeds and Liverpool Canal near Horwich. However, the Leeds and Liverpool changed their route and the link was never built. The company had been quick to see the potential of railways. and successfully obtained the right to build a railway between Manchester and Bolton, changing its name to the Manchester, Bolton and Bury Canal Navigation and Railway Company. Their initial idea was to close the canal and use its bed for the railway, but they eventually built the railway alongside the waterway. The Manchester to Bolton railway line was complete by 1838, and by 1846 a parallel railway had been built to Bury. As we approach Bolton itself, we see that the canal line has been used as a convenient alignment for the A666 dual carriageway. We return to Priestley Junction, and before we proceed to Bury, it's worth pausing for a second here by the small settlement of Knob End, because this was the site of a major breach in 1936. The canal suffered several breaches in its life, but this was by far the most significant. Here the canal is formed by a substantial trough perched high above the River Irwell. In 1936 the structure failed, dumping the canal water, all the spoil it could carry, and several boats into the valley and river below. The breach was never repaired, which was a serious blow to the viability of the canal. Not much further up the line we come to the site of the Ladyshaw Colliery, another important source of trade for the canal. After the Knob End breach, coal was still taken to Bury, but the line south to Manchester was obviously cut off, cutting toll revenue significantly. Interestingly, the boats used were designed to carry their cargo in boxes, to be lifted in and out by cranes at the wharves to save the time and cost of manual labour loading and unloading. So we continue through Lancashire to Bury itself, where you will see the large wharf complex, once equipped with the steam-powered gantry crane, an indication of the volume of trade it had once enjoyed. By 1924, traffic on the Bolton line was significantly down. Further colliery closures in the 30s and the Knob End disaster in 1936 that isolated the Bury line didn't help. In 1941, the entire Bolton arm and 7 miles of the line between Priestley and Clifton were closed. In 1955, it was concluded that there was no prospect of improvement, and the canal was abandoned finally in 1961. Well, I hope you found this interesting. If you did, please leave a comment and, well, you know the drill. The Google Maps used to generate this fly-through are available for free at Canal-mania.com, where you can download your own copy to do with as you wish. Cheerio for now.